Hello, friends. Welcome back. It's another mailbag episode with your boy Peeflax, your main man.
What's your boy?
And your fella Lulu Brindley. Let's start off with a jingle. I didn't write this one. This was sent to me.
Okay.
I'm just going to get the name of the person who sent it really quickly.
Have you guys heard the 50 Cent In the Club country remix? Conway Fitty?
Yes.
Can't wait 20, but Conway Fitty. That's good.
Fitty. Yeah.
All right, so this is from Devon. This one is from Devon. You guys ready to play?
Yeah.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, play.
It's the Triforce Mailbag. I've got a tiny dick with Lewis, Sips, and Pyrion. Which emails will they pick?
Oh, I know.
I love that rhyme.
Oh, that's it. Do you know what? That's the length I want.
Perfect jingle. Well done, Devon.
It's perfect. You know what? It kind of sounds like the theme song for a 1960s Saturday morning cartoon.
It reminded me a little bit of Bagpuss.
Yeah.
Especially the bit at the end there. Very, very Bagpuss.
Like a very innocent age.
Yeah. All right, let's. This is a callback to an episode, a little mailbag, where someone sent in evidence that Plopsaland of Belgium was using Diggy Diggy Hole.
That's right.
So this is from someone I'm going to replace that. They've asked me to replace their name with Octave de Bol because 2 other Belgians will think that's funny. So they're the other 2 Belgians that listen to this podcast. Octave de Bol. I don't know what that means. It's the name of a character.
Sure.
Those guys are pissing their pants laughing right now. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Sorry for the profanity, but I'm from Belgium, so I know a fair bit about Plopsaland. I feel like there is some crucial information Lewis is missing that, if he would hear it, would change his opinion on suing Plopsaland. Basically, the owner is a massive dick. He does not just own Plopsaland, but an entire children's entertainment company called Studio 100. A lot of Belgians would like to see people stand up to this guy. His name? Gert Verhulst. Why do I and many others not like him? Let's make a short list. Desperately wants to be taken seriously since his career started with a dog puppet, and there is indeed a picture of him holding a dog puppet. Now he has a cramp-inducing talk show, which in the first week of being on air, he had an entire episode dedicated to finally figuring out if the N-word is racist. And in his conclusion, it isn't. And he'd used it multiple times. Also, he had another episode where he had the least critical interviewer ever with another old white Belgian celebrity who'd had allegations of stalking and crossing sexual boundaries and was eventually convicted of that. He's a Nepo baby son who is an idiot and presents the Flemish version of Love Island. He has a cringe reality TV show. He has a column in a newspaper where he's just basically doing Piers Morgan-style attention baiting, and he's had sex with a bunch of much younger women that work for him, and general bad vibes. So Gert Verhulst, if you wanted to sue Lulu, that's the guy you'd be going up against.
Sure. I find it's quite interesting how small countries like Belgium or Malta,
take him out,
something like that,
take the shot.
They have a limited pool of celebrities, right? And so this guy clearly is not only a children's entertainer with a puppet, but then became the talk show host. But he's also related. Did they say related to the person who hosted?
No, so his Nepo baby son. He is sort of foisting his son on the public.
Do you see what I mean?
As a guy,
that happens all over the world, right? But at the same time, it's go on. It kind of goes with the territory, right? If you're a politician and you haven't, got like some sort of love child somewhere, are you a real politician?
Yeah, exactly. Are you really?
If you're a billionaire and you're not a bit of a scumbag, are you a real billionaire? So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to change my mind. And also, I don't think we even own Diggy Diggy Hole anymore. I think Windrose do, so they'll have to send the email to them.
There you go.
We lost it. We didn't protect it, so we lost it.
You lost Diggy Diggy Hole.
Yeah,
you had one job.
It's fine.
All you had to do was protect Diggy Diggy Hole, and you couldn't even do that.
Yeah, it's not my job. Simon's the Diggy Diggy Hole man. Simon's job.
Here's one from Zoe. Imagine being a little Timmy on his birthday, excitedly unwrapping his present, hoping for Action Man, but instead getting this. I'll show you guys this picture, and I'll describe it to the audience here. It is an Irwin Rommel action figure.
So
Wow, what the heck?
Irwin Rommel. I was reading about a little bit about Irwin Rommel. Apparently, he killed himself with cyanide because he was involved in a plot to overthrow Hitler, and they found out about it.
Yeah, you're right.
And so he killed himself. But then they said that he was, to maintain cohesion in the Nazi party or whatever, because he was such a decorated general. They said,
well, he was
that he died in battle or was injured in battle or something.
He was one of these generals who was actually, he wrote a book during the First World War, and that's why he was not from the officer class. He was promoted from kind of he wasn't from like the nobility, right? Like all the other officers were, and as a result, he was actually kind of capable. He ran like basically what they call the cleanest war that Germany ran, which was the North Africa campaign. And it was a very, there were lots of awful things that happened, but like in terms of like it was almost like a clean fight, inverted commas. And I think he gained a lot of respect for that in the world generally, and also in Germany generally. And I think when they found out about because what happened towards the end of the war in 1944 was that the Russians were closing in, Italy had sort of given up, Normandy landings had happened. It was kind of the writing was on the wall, and he and a bunch of other prominent Germans decided to kill Hitler, but they fucked it up and got captured, and they all got killed. Tons of them did.
Yeah.
And Rommel he was doing the defense of France at the time, and they just well, that's what they said he was doing. They said he was killed in his infantry car by Allied forces. So yeah, I can see but then again, still a Nazi. So
yeah, no, well, I mean, yeah,
swings and roundabouts. Like, but of all the Nazis, probably one of the least bad Nazis. But still a Nazi, a pretty serious Nazi.
I just want to say I wasn't implying that you should feel sorry for him or whatever.
Yeah,
it just,
on a scale of 1 to
some
evil,
factoids to share with you.
I'd say he was like, if Hitler was a 10 on the evil scale, he was like an 8.5.
Yeah, he was up there. I mean, he was a killer. He was killing people. Lots of people.
He was definitely a Nazi.
He was also a very effective Nazi, which is perhaps even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, those ineffectual Nazis who didn't do much, at least they weren't contributing. This guy was very, very dangerous. So I'm gonna say Irwin Rommel.
He did try to kill Hitler, although it was quite
I'm
late.
Actually, just say for the mailbag this week,
and he failed.
Let's have a big up for Irwin Rommel killing himself.
I support that big up.
It's a good big up. That's a good one. This week. Let it be known for the rest of history that we bigged up the fact that Irwin Rommel killed himself at some point. And maybe probably did humanity a favor in the process as well. I'm sorry if you're a Rommel fan. It's a fact. He was a living, breathing piece
I like
of
the
shit.
action figure, though. Like, I feel like it's, again, really borderline allowed, isn't it? You know, is there an Adolf Hitler action figure like next to it?
I'm sure there
should
is.
Probably not be allowed.
I bet you there are.
Forbidden
action figures?
This is some. You know, the kidult phenomenon that's been happening for a while and they're sort of carrying on now.
My local toy store that my kids go to. There's not many over here, obviously, small place, but they have like the toy store, and then they have what they call the kidult store, which is all the big collector Lego sets, models, cards, Funko Pops, all the kind of like, the merch around anime and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking to the guy who owns it because because
you're a dad in your shorts.
I'm a dad, and it's a small place, and you recognize people all the time. You stop and chat to them.
Yeah, he's the guy who used to have a hand puppet with a dog and now runs a theme park.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the same thing. Yeah.
And I was saying to him, I was like, how are things going? With this other store? Like, do you not feel like it should just be one store? And he's like, no, actually, it's really good with the separation, and this store does better than the other one. I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised, actually. Like, some of these Lego sets are like 500 pounds.
Yeah, grown-ups have money. That's it.
Yeah. So he said, so it was interesting. The kidult phenomenon. Yeah.
It's a big phenomenon.
Lego, obviously, yes, the Lego sets have got like 18 plus on them, but there's nothing, X-rated about that. It's just that they're a little bit harder to put together and also not really like intended for a 4-year-old. And I don't know, like the idea of Lego putting 18 plus on their Lego sets for not really any reason. I think a competent 12-year-old could assemble any of these.
They could do some sexy Lego.
Even like a competent 9-year-old, I reckon, could assemble any 18+ Lego set, really. I don't know quite. But I think the idea is that it is meant for serious grown-ups.
Yeah, they should do like some they should do some James Bond Legos with like all the babes in James Bond, you know?
I just think they should just do some porno Lego. Get some porn stars, get their names attached.
Wow.
Put it on a high shelf.
Do like Lego Technic and make the figurines quite big, you know?
Yeah.
So, for example, though, the thing that just came out this month was the Lego Twilight house. So the house that it's you know Twilight, the movie.
Is that the one with Robert Pattinson in?
No. Yes, from 20 years ago, I think, Twilight, the movie.
What, the business
it was a huge thing,
correspondent from
2008
the
came out, Twilight.
Early 2000s for the BBC News?
Do you remember Stephanie Meyer, who wrote all these books about, that was like, it was originally like fanfic and it got super popular and every woman I knew in 2008 was into Twilight. And it was a massive global phenomenon.
I think
and obviously
it's just
now
an entry-level drug to 50 Shades of Grey, essentially.
Is it?
I'm just saying,
when you're a child, you
wasn't
read
Twilight about vampires?
Yeah, but they're
teenage
all fucking
vampires?
each other. They're all fucking each other.
They were fucking each other. And it was teenage girls, really. But those teenage girls are now in their 30s, right? And that is who that Lego set is aiming at, right? It's aiming at those... The people buying that Twilight, it's such a strange thing. It's such a niche audience, right?
Yeah.
But they know that it will sell. It's not, so a 9-year-old can say, "Mummy, that's a cool house. I like vampires and sex. Can I buy that Twilight house?"
Good God.
And, they can buy it, right? It's in the kids' shop. It's not like it's actually like anything horrible.
It's not forbidden, but they wouldn't want it. They've got no interest in Twilight.
But exactly, it is aimed for their mum, right? And so maybe their mum builds the Twilight set while they're building the Mario set or whatever. I don't know
if I've ever known a woman to be interested in Lego or build Lego.
There are loads.
Right, okay.
Right in pyrion.flax@gmail.com.
You don't need the dot. Just FYI, I've had people send me the same email twice and saying, "Sorry, I got the email wrong." Google doesn't care about the dot. All right, you could put P dot, Y dot, R dot. It'll still get here. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what I'm saying is that the Irwin Rommel thing is not something that would be appropriate in a kid's store at all. And so it's just a kid's product. Is this a joke product or is this a real product? It looks like, from the picture you've sent, it looks real.
This is in a shop where they're selling collectible toys, and it's clearly like an action figure store. And there you can get your Irwin Rommel toy. I mean, let's Google it. Irwin Rommel action figure. That
is weird. It's weird.
Yeah, there it is.
I'd be interested to see the whole series of toys that came out around this, because you'd expect that there probably to be a Hitler in there. But then probably like a Churchill and
this is it. Like, imagine
a bunch of other
like
big. There should be like a Stalin in there, for example.
Well, exactly,
and a Mussolini.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, maybe if Imagine the Death of Stalin or whatever, that movie was a big hit, and they did like Lego for the death of Stalin. They'd have to have a little Stalin minifig, right?
Yeah.
They'd have to have a merch that was a star. If they were tying in to these movies that have Hitler or Hitler-like characters. I mean, we have got people that
Maybe
are
they should do a
Hitler-like
Schindler's
characters.
List Lego Collector's Edition.
I mean, look at what's his name? Not Voldemort. The other one, Grindelwald or whatever. He was like Wizard Hitler, right? There's plenty of action figures of him out, I'm sure.
I don't know who that is.
Who?
Grindelwald. It was Johnny Depp, but then he got in trouble, and then they replaced him with Mads Mikkelsen.
Figure.
The great
very
leader.
weird.
Perfect Tiger Toys.
Tiger
a
Toys.
1/6 Soviet leader Stalin action figure. That is you can purchase that.
Right.
Comes with a variety of hands, some holding a pipe, others not, and different hats, so you can
do they have like any more like more recent ones? Like, do they have like a Tony Blair or like a George W?
I'm just
action
looking
figure?
for Hitler action figure.
I'm sure there's tons of Hitler action
So I
figures.
must be
can't. There
tons.
isn't a Hitler one on eBay that I could find.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's weird.
Let's
So
just
I mean,
Google Hitler action figure. God
it's
help
nice
me.
to know that some things are still sacred in a sense. Like even
Oh, there it is.
they've got the bad taste to put Stalin in.
No,
But
there it is. 350 quid for
okay.
a Hitler action figure.
where is the like?
Where's the market?
Where is?
There's
Where's the
got to be
line?
Bill Cosby action figures kicking around.
Jimmy Savile.
There's got to be
action
some
figure.
Jimmy Savile ones.
Where's,
I'm
do you
sure
see what I
there
mean? Though,
are.
where is the line on this? Right? Like, because I get sometimes. I had an email the other day for a historical game, and they said, "Oh, we'd love you to promote this while dressed up as a historical figure, for example, as Lenin." And I was like, "I'm not
John Lennon.
I'm not dressing up as Lenin." I mean, Lenin was an awful person, right? Like, or am I? Or is he suddenly is he okay to role play as? You know, if
So-
Prince Harry role played as Lenin, would that be all right?
I've posted a Playmobil figure. This is actually Doc Brown from Back to the Future, but it does unfortunately look an awful lot like Jimmy Savile.
It does look just like him, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
You found a Funko Pop that looks like Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
That is not a Funko Pop. That's a Funko Playmobil. It's
Yes,
kind
that's what
of
I said.
almost
Yeah, yeah.
more
They've
frightening.
got okay.
than
So
a Funko Pop.
Playmobil, I think is not doing too great, right? It had a couple of flop movies, and I think
Playmobil movies?
yeah, there was
Playmobil.
Playmobil movies. Yeah, I think they tried
Oh
to.
my god! I didn't even.
I think they tried to
Oh, they
get
tried
in
to
on
cash
the,
in on the
you know,
Lego
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 action.
stuff. Yeah,
Well, look, this shit is just not as good as Lego. I mean, it's been around since I was a kid, Playmobil.
Yeah.
You go to a kid's house and they seem to be either a Lego house or a Playmobil house. And the Playmobil houses, those kids had no friends.
you didn't need
Right,
friends
let's
when you
move
had
on.
all these cool Playmobil sets, though.
The
Like,
Playmobil is like we have Lego at home, and then it says
And it's
Playmobil. It's that.
Playmobil. All right, so
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
move on because we've got to do another email. This is an incident at an airport that happened to a fella in November. I treated my partner to a Christmas shopping trip to New York. It was something
nice.
she always wanted to do, so I saw this as the best way to ask her to marry me, but life has other plans. All was going well. The flight was great, but on arrival to JFK, it went downhill. After queuing for passport control, the officer scanned my passport and I was asked for my fingerprint to be scanned, so I obliged. After scanning, he looked up at me with the fear of God in his eyes. And before I could say anything, I was instantly surrounded by multiple officers with weapons drawn, screaming at me to get on the ground. Then I was cuffed and dragged off, also detaining my partner in the process.
Jesus.
I was taken into a room that looked like a scene from a 1970s detective porn film. It was here I found out that I was a wanted terrorist named Emin Yashed. At this point, I started laughing. I'm in your shed. At this point, I started laughing as I instantly understood what happened. In 2010, I was serving in the armed forces and I was doing a tour in Afghanistan. My job was to work with the Afghan National Police to mentor and assist the detainment of known Taliban fighters. Once the ANP detained the individual, it was our job to process them, which was taking pictures and fingerprints. Now, after a couple of weeks of doing this, we got quite bored, so we started taking pictures of each other using the NATO-supplied camera. This camera had a built-in fingerprint scanner also, so we just basically processed each other, fake names and all, and I'm in your shed was born. Anyway, so it turns out the camera we were supplied automatically uploaded data to an international database. 8 hours of detention later, I was able to leave and see my partner, whose face was a mess with her makeup running, crying at the thought she'd been shacked up with a potential terrorist. Anyway, I suppose I proposed and she said yes, so it turned out fine in the end.
Oh,
P.S.
good.
She has since left me for another man, that bitch.
Oh no! Whoa! Well, life happens, I guess. I know that doesn't help much. But
You had been confirmed not to be a terrorist. He might still be a terrorist. You know, you can't. What a mistake she's made. You don't get this opportunity to get a check that hard. You know, on whether your spouse is a terrorist. You know, just what I'm saying. Know what you got, woman. What a mistake,
woman.
That
I mean, you shit.
I don't know if I believe that story, but it's
a good one.
Fucking
it's fun.
good.
It's fun.
It's
that
a real
is
fun,
a fun one. I mean,
if it's an urban myth, sorry,
it could be
Yeah.
an
It's
urban
fake.
myth. Yeah,
You
it's
got
good.
to do
You
the
never
rounds.
know these
Whatever.
days.
But it gave us a laugh, and hopefully
love
it
it.
gave you a chuckle too.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is another one that could also be fake. We'll find out. In some countries, there is a law where if a passenger dies on your coach, this is as a coach driver, the driver is put into jail until it's proven that the driver wasn't the cause of death.
Okay.
Dumb, I know. I once did a tour around Europe with old people. I had a passenger come up to me and say, "Drive, we got another one." I didn't know what they were saying. After asking, they told me that someone had died on the coach. So one of the old people has died on the coach. Knowing the law, and that I was in France, I panicked, thinking, oh shit, I'm going to jail. One of the passengers said, why don't you put your sunglasses on the dead passenger and we could declare him dead once we cross the border? So we did. Sunglasses on and shit in my pants, we managed to cross the border to Spain where we could declare his death and I would avoid jail.
What the fuck?
Do we think that's real?
I don't know if that's real.
I'm at least a 50-50 on that. I don't think a Triforce listener is driving a bus of old people through France.
I think that's exactly who our audience is. People with a very dull job, just having to drive old people around. They got to listen to something.
It's like a front job for like serial killing, though. That's what all of our listeners do. They do these like, you know, these jobs that don't sort of show who they really are. Behind the scenes, they're just, you know, they've got closets full of dead prostitutes and stuff, but you know, by day they're just driving around old French people on a bus. Nobody would ever know.
I can't find anything by googling Snopes and stuff about old person dies on bus story. So I'm gonna edge over to real. What a great story. Love it.
It's a great story.
Great story.
It's almost too great, you know, like
too great.
Yeah, I think it's
it
smells
all right,
fishy.
so here's another email. This is about the Diavik diamond mine, which I spoke about a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about multiple times.
Yeah.
This is the one you flew over and you were looking at.
And that fascinated me, yeah. Just listened to the latest Triforce and I was stoked to hear you all talking about the Diavik diamond mine. I work for a company that helps with the decommissioning and resale of the equipment up there. So hearing your excitement was awesome because honestly, I geek out over this stuff too. It's like playing with giant Tonka trucks, every kid's dream. Since you all touched on the sustainability side of the mine closure, I wanted to share a bit more. Diavik has been all over it, making sure as much gear as possible gets redeployed. We're talking excavators, processing equipment, water treatment systems, electrical infrastructure. The scale of it is wild. And then there's the logistics. Getting the gear out of the north is a whole operation. Because of the weather, we can only transport everything in the winter while the lake around the mine is frozen. I figured you might get a kick of some of the gear we're moving. So there are some pictures of the gear that they're moving. I'm going to post a link here. This is... oh, no, I can't do that. Hold on.
I hope these are all like suitably scaled, like, you know, taken that from angles that make them look even more gigantic.
This is on the lenmark.com, and this is all the equipment that you can buy that was used at Diavik. For example, there's this huge excavator, could be yours, so $64,000, or an even bigger excavator.
You can buy an underground substation with an 800 kVA transformer for 190 grand Canadian. That is
fucking hell.
That's mad.
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff they're selling.
These are such great picks as well, aren't they?
Well, look
like
at this.
They've got it's like okay, here it is, a shovel bucket, a 5-part shovel bucket, just a shovel bucket for an excavator. $200,000.
Okay, the excavator itself you can get for $400,000. You can get a 1086 HP excavator 1900-6 for $400,000.
Holy crap!
And
I mean, look at this. I've posted a link. This is
the size of this thing.
Yeah, they're big. This is a
enormous.
185 kilowatt copper regrind mill stirred media detriter. That's what that is.
Flip. Look at this underground MCC unit.
Oh, can you just say that? Can you just say that again? That
185 kilowatt copper regrind mill stirred media detriter.
Oh, a stirred media detriter.
Oh, I just love hearing that.
No way.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I don't think I've ever even built one of them in a video game. I'm gonna have to. I need a.
There you go.
Stirred media detriter.
Look at that.
That is fucking cool. This is exactly right about the Tonka trucks, the giant piece of kit. I saw a thing about some of these mines in the north of Australia, and it's all pretty much done remotely. They have all of these trucks being driven from a control room in Sydney or somewhere, you know, thousands of miles away, and they just, you know, you look at the place and it's just like a remote control little. But except they're not little, they're gigantic. These trucks shoveling iron ore, and it's all automatic. So they shovel iron ore onto this train, and the train goes to the, you know, all the way down the coast. And it's very few people need to actually man this system, and it transports something like 1,000 tons a day
Oh,
or
my
something,
God.
or maybe even more. It's mental.
All of this stuff, like when you see, like just that picture of the stirred media detritor, just looking at that, it looks so insanely complicated.
Yeah.
All the gangplanks and walkways and pipes and machinery and electricity. The fact that this stuff is something we're able to build and use is just mind-boggling. The logistics behind all of this stuff. This is crazy. It just blows my mind. This is from Louis. Anyway, moving on. I've submitted a couple of emails for the mailbag in the past, either responding to a topic you guys brought up or just telling you about something I find interesting. All right, thanks. I was wondering if you've noticed any trends amongst the people who submit things. Do you tend to read out almost every email sent in, or are you having to cut down from a large amount? I noticed in the most recent mailbag at the time of sending, you said how you had 15 great emails in a row. Is that a rare occurrence that you'll just easily read banger after banger? Or is it the case you don't get that many emails, but all of them are great, so you tend to read them all out? Also, do you tend to get repeat offenders, or are people more one and done with their submissions? So generally, what is the state of the Triforce mailbag? So I obviously use my sort of public email account for this, which is the pyronflax@gmail.com, which is on my on my Twitter. It's readily findable. So since the last mailbag, we've had 50, 100. What's the February 14th today? So 100. We've had 150 emails since the last mailbag went out.
That's very healthy.
That's a lot of emails.
It's a lot. So I do read them all, but the thing is, I try to have 20 emails for each mailbag that I think are actually like the best ones. And we generally don't get through even more than 10 really of those, because we'll talk a bit and sometimes one email will get us chatting and stuff, which is the whole point of it, really. I mean, we don't just want to sit here and read out emails, but so it is very, very hard. I will say the one thing I still get is people sending pictures from where they listen to Triforce. And I think that was the very first mailbag.
Yeah, we used to get those like on social media and stuff.
On socials, yeah. But some people are obviously either just started the podcast or they're just catching up. It's kind of a tricky one.
Yeah, I like getting those still though. I like seeing those.
Yeah, it's nice. I like those. All right, so I would just say in general, I get way more emails than we could ever fit in an episode. If there is one that is really good that didn't make it in the mailbag that I was going to read it out, I've got a separate sort of, what do you call it, a label or whatever, where I put those and I'll use these later sort of thing, so that if it's a bad week and I haven't really got any great emails, I'll go and pull some of those good ones out. It's a few hours work in the morning, but I love it. I love reading it. Sometimes I know it's a good one, so I don't read it all because I don't want to spoil it for myself on the episode. So there you go.
Okay.
That's a little
cool.
If you wanted that little insight,
a little behind the scenes for you.
Yeah. I've found in modern life that it's very, very loud. Lots of things are talking to me. The bus is telling me what stop I'm pulling up at next. The train is telling me to mind the gap and watch for the doors. It's yap, yap, yap. Everything that's reversing has to beep loudly. What I like to do is block it all out with a pair of headphones so I can listen to my personal playlists of bangers and smash hits.
That's right. Have you been using your everyday earbuds by Raycon?
I have indeed.
Is their latest model better than ever with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with two devices at once?
That's right. Yes, that is it, Sips. Yes, those ones.
Yeah, I love those ones. They're really good. I use them all the time.
My youngest, I actually gave the pair that we got to my youngest, and she loves them. And they look cool. She's all about style.
Yeah, they come in a range of vibrant colors for a style that complements yours. I've got blue ones.
Lewis, I'm interested to know, do Raycon start at just half the price as other premium audio brands with similar features?
That's what they do. And they have the quick charge function, Sips, where just 10 minutes of charging will yield you 90 minutes of battery.
That's incredible.
If you're not liking them, they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy, no questions asked. So visit buyraycon.com/Triforce, where you'll get 20% off everyday earbuds. That's right. Raycon is offering 20% off when you go to buyraycon.com/Triforce. Buyraycon.com/Triforce.
Here Here's a simple but meaningful gift idea for your mum, dad, or grandparent who lives across the country, or maybe even overseas. A digital picture frame from Aura. It's perfect for sharing pics of all the things they can't be there for, from family vacations to their grandkids' graduation. What's one memorable photo that I've shared? Well, you know what? I've done it the other way around. My dad has been sharing pictures of my family from black and white days of yore on his Aura, and I'm able to then import them onto my frame. And I put pictures of the kids on his Aura frame just with the app that I've got on my phone. And I find that extremely useful. It gives us a kind of overseas connection. Whatever the time of day, whatever the time of year, we're exchanging pictures. And it's nice because everybody gets to see them.
That's incredibly wholesome. It does come with unlimited storage and simple controls, and you can upload as many photos as you want. You can check it out on auraframes.com, and for a limited time, listeners can get $20 off their best-selling Carver Mat frame with code Triforce. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Triforce. There we go, on with the show.
All right, so here is, this is interesting. Do you guys remember I mentioned a guy called Wes Watson?
No.
So he was a convict who had, or ex-con, who had a YouTube channel, and he was enormous. The dude was huge, like ridiculously jacked.
Okay.
Veins popping out of his arms and his neck.
This is coming back to me a little bit now.
Yeah, and he would do, for some reason, all his videos, he's facing to the side, and the camera's on his right, so you can see the size of his arm, and he's like, "What's it like in prison? I'll tell you what it is. It sucks in prison. You've got to be hard as fuck." You know, he's like screaming. And when he's yelling, he's turning red and the veins are bulging out. He's been arrested.
Oh.
And he's in big trouble. And apparently at his bail hearing, they said they couldn't find any priors. So people aren't sure if he ever actually did time or not. And there is a Wes Watson subreddit.
So he might be lying about all of his time and experience
we don't know.
In the big time.
It possibly,
but he actually might now be going to prison.
Yes, but he said he was a shot caller on the yard, and he was this big deal and everything. And so the Wes Watson subreddit, I saw a really funny post on the other day where they
he's
said,
just going to sit in his cell and cry every day.
I don't know. I mean, it said I thought this was like a fans subreddit for Wes Watson. But these people hate Wes Watson.
Oh, right.
And this subreddit is purely them tearing him down and pointing out all the terrible things he does. I
love that.
And what a bad guy he is. So I think he's in trouble for beating someone up in his gym.
Right.
He's in big trouble, really. I mean, I know that he says he's 6 foot, but his arrest sheet had him listed as 5'8", and now he's gone up. He's doing all these videos saying, "They just eyeball you at the intake. Everybody knows that. They don't fucking measure you." And
he's got big platform shoes on.
I mean, they make you stand against that thing that has the height thing.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they do measure you. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. If you want to dive into the world of Wes Watson,
people get so weird about the weirdest things, eh? Like, there's nothing you can do about your height. Like, just accept it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, whether you're tall or short or whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't define you or whatever. I don't know why people get so caught up about it. But then, and try to lie about something so obvious, like everyone can figure it out. Like, we can see that you're not 6 feet tall. You know, like, I don't know why people do it. It's really bizarre.
It's a delusion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think he's. I do think that the gym thing that if you do that much, he must be on steroids or something as well, and it makes you angry, like or testosterone. It makes you more aggressive.
It's just the weird number pushing, though. You know, like is it Rachel Reeves is in the news recently for not to do with her height, but you know, there's some questions about how long she worked at the Bank of England or something like that. They looked at her LinkedIn profile and they found some discrepancies, and then she updated her LinkedIn profile immediately because, you know, people were talking about, you know, how it didn't make sense. She was here at a certain time or whatever. And you just think, why not just be truthful about it in the first place? Like,
in the first place, yeah.
Like, all of these things people will find out about you if they want to. You know, it's not it's not overly private information. And especially if you've got it listed on your LinkedIn for everyone to see, you know, like you're a high profile civil servant. Like,
it's the same thing as just wanting to tell a better story. And then you start thinking that is true. It's like the same thing as, people misremembering
I guess, but like, what's the difference? If you work somewhere for 5 years and you say you worked there for 7, what, those 2 years suddenly make it like way better? Like, I don't think anyone really cares that much, but they'll certainly care when they catch you lying about it.
I think people justify these things to themselves so easily. They say, well, I'm going to be here another 2 years, so let's just add it now. It's like, people justify themselves anything in very stupid ways often.
It's weird,
they
isn't
don't
it?
necessarily think it will come around to bite them in the ass. But this guy, I think, is certainly there's this American idea of fake it till you make it, or like push the, really, I think with very high levels of confidence comes some physical aggression too. Like, I think you see these guys, they're very, their physical size makes them frightening. And I think because that, they almost feel like it's easy to, all this shit with eye contact. I don't know, all these alpha male bullshit. I think a lot of, and you see it on telly as well, right? You see it in Hollywood shows that's almost how to behave. Someone's insulting you, get up in their face aggressively, physically. Someone's your wife's cheated on you. Go and punch the guy or whatever. It's like you can't. They feel like they're doing the things they're supposed to do because their education is from watching soap operas, not from following anything intelligent. Anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't get it. I just don't get with the benefit of just like adding a little bit on, but people do it all the time. Like they do it all the time about everything, like just adding a little bit on, like it just makes it like it's just a little bit extra juice, like for something that fucking nobody cares about in the first place. Like it just doesn't. It always. It's
just one after another, isn't it?
It always makes me laugh,
Yeah.
All right, let's talk weird eating habits.
Go on.
All right, this one, this is a long preamble. I'll cut to the chase. This lad has 2 brothers. They're all healthy, sporty, and sort of young.
Right.
So they eat a lot, right?
Right.
Their dietary intake, their calorie requirements are very high. So anytime food arrives in the house, they eat it all. There's a lot of quarreling, and generally speaking, all the food is gone the day it arrives.
Okay.
So all this food arrives in the house, and they just eat all of it.
Okay.
It's like this big predatory race for food.
Right.
But what happens if one day nobody had the time to buy something to eat? Well, then it is your time to shine with inventing dishes that are made from 7 basic ingredients. So the 7 basic ingredients are, if the bread runs out, use cheese instead of bread. So it is cheese with marmalade or a pickle cheese sandwich. So just cheese.
So you're using slices of cheese instead of bread
in lieu of bread.
So you're wrapping pickle in cheese.
No wonder the food keeps running out. Jesus. Okay.
So potatoes, rice, pickles, cheese are good on their own. I know Pyrion has some thoughts regarding combining 2 types of the same thing, but you just be damn happy as long as you have more than one thing to combine. Just potatoes or just rice is a normal thing to eat in our household. A chunk of raw butter, if there's any left. Molten cheese in water, which forms cheese soup. I can share loads more recipes if you're interested. Greetings from Croatia.
These are not recipes. I understand. Listen, I understand where he's coming from in that you can, if you've got some cheese and you've got a carb, you can do cheese sandwich or cheese on potatoes or cheese on rice or cheese on whatever on whatever, right? Or whatever carb you've got going. That makes sense, right? But as soon as you start swapping out the carb for the cheese, that's where madness lies, right? That's.
But they're not really recipes. You're just eating any old thing that's available. Like if there was like a can of pedigree chum, you just eat it because you're so hungry, I guess. Like it doesn't really matter.
But as soon as you start messing with these ingredients, like no wonder you're running out of food, right? Because bread is like or the rice, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Okay. The cheese, you don't have an entire, you don't have an entire slab of cheese. You're not buying cheese slabs instead of bread slices.
Yeah. You normally would have a bit of bread. If you have that much cheese, you probably should have some bread around.
So the issue is that they do have, but the problem is it runs out. It runs out so fast.
Hey guys, we ran out of tomato soup, so we're just going to drink jam. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's
they're
literally
just
where they're at.
each of them drinks a jar of jam. Do you mean, no, like that's why you're running out of food. I understand, like maybe the fridge is bare and you have to put together something from what you've got left over, and it's an unorthodox meal, but it's only one night a week and you go shopping the next day and you eat normally again for a while. That's fine. Not wanting things to go to waste, that's fine. But like putting cheese in water and making hot cheese water, that's not a meal. That's not, shouldn't be allowed.
Well, sorry, Velocity. Lulu is not on board.
That's a
with
new
your
recipe for you there. Hot cheese water.
Yeah, hot cheese water. All right, this is from Faye. I've been enjoying hearing the bizarre food combo stories in recent episodes, never expecting to see such debauchery among my own. To my disbelief, I just watched my mum mop up the black bean sauce from her mixed veg Chinese takeaway meal with a croissant.
Oh,
jeez.
That is grisly.
That is
I hate that.
That is grisly. Yeah, I agree with that.
I can understand where this is coming from, especially if you're American. I'm sure you can understand that they're mixing the sweet and salty. It's very normal. Having a bacon milkshake, having, you know,
they do like to put bacon in just about everything in America.
Bacon in everything.
You know, you're seeing it more and more. People putting, you know, having. We were talking about pancake day
Baconaise
the other day, and you know, savory pancakes.
Savory pancakes.
You know, even savory and sweet pancakes. Like combining it, it's starting to be. Look, everyone loves sugar. Everyone also loves salt. So you know the sweet and salty popcorn.
There's your advert right there.
Hey, sweet.
Everyone loves sugar.
I didn't think I would.
Also loves
I didn't
salt.
think I'd like sweet and salted popcorn, but I actually really do. It's nice.
Yeah, put
Not
a little bit
me.
of salt on your watermelon. Delicious.
I like
option.
savory shit, but I don't like
What
combining
about
it with
what
sweet
about
shit.
apples and like sliced apples and peanut butter? That's another combo.
So
you see.
that's a banger. But I like, if I'm having cheese, especially really strong cheese with nice red grapes, amazing.
like
I
a
love that.
like a camembert,
Indeed. Or well, no, because it would need to be a ripe one.
a ripe one.
Like
Right, okay.
a really good ripe blue cheese or a really ripe brie with some blue cheese. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Delicious.
He had to
All right,
make
so,
the blah 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 blah
I did,
sound
of
as
course.
well. Yeah.
This is from Frank. I'm like you, Flax. I don't like porridge. Never did. But I do eat it raw. I just eat the oats with a spoonful of demerara sugar.
No
And
way.
my saliva moistens it while
There's
I
no
eat.
fucking way on this earth that anyone
Listen,
is doing
I
that.
think what
Unless
you're doing,
like
if you're doing
stuck,
that,
like an avalanche has like, you know, you're
you're
you have
basically
nothing else.
you're turning your body into some sort of saliva factory, right? Because you're making your body make so much saliva to deal with that you're going to become abnormal.
Okay,
you're
what's
going to
it?
become like a drooling.
You know what he
monster,
might do though?
right?
Because if I have like a mouth ulcer, have you ever had a mouth ulcer and then tried to put like you know, like igloo or something on it? You know, like the treatments that they have for mouth ulcers, Bonjela, whatever.
Yeah.
If I open my mouth and I put my finger into my mouth with like a dot of that stuff on and I apply it to my mouth ulcer, I am dribbling everywhere. Like my saliva is working overtime. Maybe
Really?
That could be a trick for you when you're trying to moisten up your oats. You know,
put some Bonjela
Get a
on
little
them.
bit of
That'll
Bonjela
make
in
them
there,
even more delicious.
and it'll really excite your saliva glands or whatever, and then you'll have more juice for the oats. You know, I don't know why it does that though. It must be like some sort of like stimulation for the saliva or something. I don't know, but it's just
Good
it's like
God.
a waterfall. It's insane. Like I could barely even get the Bonjela in there. It's just like there's so much saliva coming out of my mouth.
Don't learn these tips. This is only going to help you turn into a drooling monster. Please do not eat dry granola. It's just not
Dry granola
healthy,
is fine.
you know?
It's just
not good
I
for
think
you.
he's just talking about
dry oats.
just dry
No,
oats.
I think it's fine. It's like eating granola. Some people eat granola dry. That's fine. Go for it.
You can
I don't know, it's like-
you can put it in a yogurt.
I'm just worried it'll give you. You got to be careful because some things aren't really meant to be eaten raw, like potatoes or mushrooms.
No.
You know, you're supposed to cook them because otherwise, because your body can't digest
Oh,
them.
man, we
And so
made
you
some-
can get sort of.
We had we bought like just a jar of pasta sauce, but we fried up some mushrooms with some onions and some garlic and put it into the pasta sauce. Oh my god, it was so good.
Wow, I think you've just invented a brand new meal. I don't think anyone's ever done that.
No, I know.
Before.
Everybody does that. I've never done it before, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying. I just put the sauce on and I eat it. Like I don't get fancy with it. But this time we did, and I was glad that we did.
Well, do it again.
So that was
good idea.
That was getting fancy. There's your getting fancy recipe for the day.
It's effort. The problem is it's effort.
Congrats, though, Sips. I'm glad you're branching out finally.
This is from Alex. There's another weird eating habit. I love these. This is the one that will get me sent to hell is dunking my bagel in my tea the way Americans dunk donuts in coffee. That is gross.
I think both are gross, though.
Yeah, I think they're
I
both
think if
gross.
you're dunking a
like
donut
that.
into a hot drink, that's fucking gross. It's just as gross as dunking anything else into a hot drink. Personally,
I just don't dunk. I'm not a dunker.
I'm not a dunker
it's
either.
Very, dare I say it? It's a little common.
There you go. Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Well, here's the thing. I think that a lot of people like dunking.
They're called northerners.
And
filthy, grubby, classless northerners.
a
Sometimes you're
digestive
holding a biscuit and you're looking at the tea and you're like, will this dunk? And you just experiment. And
Just
I think
I knew someone who used to dunk a Kit Kat, like a stick of Kit Kat into their drink, and the chocolate would like melt off of the wafer into the drink. They would dunk it so much, and then they would just.
Do you know
eat
what
the wafer.
the irony is? The irony is Northerners are very precious about tea and having sugar in tea. But they want, give me a nice cup of strong builder's tea with barely any milk in it and none of that fucking sugar muck. But I will dunk me bicky in it like a baby. Oh yes, oh lovely, bits of bicky in the bottom of my tea. Fuck off, double standard. All right, here's one. This is a bad date story. This is a
great.
Oh,
Great.
God. These things give me PTSD, dude. I swear to God.
Just picture this. I was 17. I'd asked out a crush I'd had for a while, and this was going to be my second date so far in my life. I had my first date at 16, but it didn't go well. So anyway, we go to Cheesecake Factory, and everything had been going more perfect than I could imagine for how nervous I'd felt at the beginning of the night. Conversation was smooth, no awkward moments or silences. Unfortunately, when the night was coming to a close, I was coming back from the bathroom and getting back to our table, a waiter bumped into someone behind me and fell over. But while he was falling, he tries to break his fall by grabbing onto something, and that something ends up being my trousers. I would have been so happy if it was just my trousers that had been pulled down, but my underwear came down as well, and I fully flashed my date while I quickly tried to pull my pants back up.
Whoa.
Also, I am a grower and not a shower, so that did not help me when she had told all her friends, and I heard it in school the next day. After being horribly embarrassed, surprisingly, we dated for 2 years until we broke up when she moved to California.
Oh.
Wow.
So there's a happy ending, an actual happy ending.
Fuck
Jesus.
me. Well, that stuff is like, that. You might be able to laugh it off, okay? And it might bring you closer together. These things happen.
Sometimes they can bring you closer together, yeah.
Oh, I've got a story, but I'm not going to tell it until
Go on.
a few
You
weeks
can't
time.
say that.
It's too live. It's too
It's
live.
too
It's
recent.
related, but it's too recent. No, I
Wait,
can't.
but please tell it.
No, I can tell you once time has gone by. It's too
What's
fresh.
wrong? What do you mean it's too fresh?
It's too fresh.
Wait,
it's
when did
happening
it
right
happen?
now. It's happening.
Was
right
it
now.
really
What do
cringe?
you mean it's happening right now?
It's happening. It's too cringe. It's
Tell
too
us.
fresh.
You
No,
can't
I
do
can't.
that. No, you can't do
I
that.
can. I'll tell you later.
Oh, you can't do that.
I haven't got that many stories that you'll hear it eventually. So
Oh my
So now we just got to
let's
wait a
move
couple
on.
of weeks for the cringe to die down a little bit.
yeah.
Like,
I can't do it.
I can't live with that.
That's
I
unfair.
can't. I've got a story, but I haven't managed to phrase it in my head how comfortable I am.
All right,
if I do it now, I'll be giving away too much info and
Can
stuff.
you at
right?
least
It's-
tell me about it after we finish recording? 'Cause
Yes,
otherwise I will not
absolutely.
be able to do anything for the rest of the day. Okay.
I'll tell you.
You just cease to function.
I will. This is from Kayla. I thought I'd share my strange way of eating. Now, Kayla, I've read this email ahead. This is not strange. This is revolting. And honestly, pretty abhorrent behavior. Don't do it. When eating a pizza, I will scrape off the topping with a fork and eat that. Then move on to the pizza dough, which I usually eat using also a knife and fork. Similarly with lasagna, I will scrape off the layer of meat and sauce, eat that, then roll the lasagna sheet into a tube and eat that. I do this with each layer until finished. And then has the gall to say, I completely agree the best way to eat a meal is to save the best component until last. You're doing the opposite, Kayla. You're literally, the dough is just there. The dough is delicious.
You're just breaking it down into its components and eating it component at a time. Like rather
in the wrong order.
You're eating like a fucking printer. Do you know what I mean? It's like a robot, woman. Stop it.
Eating like a printer, like one of those dot matrix. Just eating one line at a time only,
Oh my
please.
God.
Oh my God.
just mix.
Funny.
Just go full chaos when you're eating. Just mix it all up, man. It's so good.
This is
So good.
is from Martin. This is another weird eating one. This is a weird way to eat food, apple puree. When I was little, until a long way into my teenage years, I used to put apple puree on everything. I hope you know what I mean. It's Apfelmus in German. So it's like applesauce, just applesauce.
So I make this routine. Well, I used to when I grew up, I had a couple of apple trees at the end of my garden, cooking apple trees. The apples are disgusting.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you could just put them in a little pot on the hob and melt them down, and they turn into a nice applesauce with a little bit of sugar. And I would eat it hot and cold throughout the year. And recently, we accidentally ended up with a whole fucking bag of apples. Do the same. It's nice. I recommend it. I like it. It's
Would you have
fun.
it on
It's
mashed
fun.
potatoes?
I mean, it is something you can eat with some. I used to eat it with some pork or whatever.
That's
a
the
pork
best
apple.
thing to
Very
eat it
standard,
with. It like
very standard thing, right?
Yeah.
But as a result, you can eat it with other things.
All right, so
you know.
I'll give you a list of things that Martin eats it with. Mashed potatoes.
And I'll say yes. I'll say yes or no.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Sure.
Vegetables.
yes, yeah. I think
Vegetables.
it would work with some vegetables, maybe not all.
It depends.
French fries.
I disagree with the
say
mashed
no.
potatoes.
I'm gonna say
Also,
no.
French fries. Yeah, no thanks.
No.
Right, what about tomato soup?
No way.
No.
Well, Martin did.
Well, good for Martin. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking. I'm not eating
Good
it.
for
What's
him.
he do? Just put like a big dollop inside the
How
soup.
are you eating that with the
He
soup?
wanted to cool his soup down, so we added some Apfelmus, and he was like, oh, yes, this is delicious. The flavor of the tomato and the Apfelmus really brings the best out of the dish.
Oh God. This is why we had to stop you in World War II. I'm sorry.
Irwin Rommel action figure with jar of Apfelmus.
Realistic eating action.
Emergency tins of tomato soup.
Tins of tomato soup.
Soup.
Suppe
Oh, man.
und Apfelmus.
Oh, God.
Good heavens.
Oh,
That is funny.
please.
No, none
right.
of those things. Maybe with some vegetables, applesauce. But I remember having applesauce with pork, and it's a good.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a
classic.
classic.
That's a
with pork.
Yes,
classic
the classic.
combo.
It's
I
understood.
don't have it. I don't have it myself. I don't like the applesauce with the pork. I just like the pork.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else. When I have lamb, I don't need the mint sauce
You
on
don't
it.
see
Just give me the
you don't
fucking
see
lamb.
a lot of applesauce over here. I remember when I was in Canada, lots of applesauce, lots of big jars of
Well,
applesauce.
Martin has been to Jersey and eaten all of the Apfelmus.
Oh, no.
Hold it down my neck. Yeah. All right, this is from Chris. Chris from Bury.
Nice.
Happened around 10 years ago in Manchester. Each year, the company I work for pays for a hotel function for us and the partners, and then we stay at the hotel overnight. Towards the end of the night, the wine was flowing, everyone was having a great time, until it became apparent that one of the supervisors, let's call him Jay, for privacy reasons, had had far too much to drink. He was boldly flirting with other people's partners, nearly got into a fight with another worker, and had a huge bust-up with his own partner about all of this, who ended up storming off. Me and my wife decided the night was coming to a close anyway, so we escorted him up to his room where he drunkenly slurred goodnight, disappeared into his room, and we retired to our own. 6 a.m., we're woken up with the sound of the fire alarm going off. Lasted for 5 seconds, then turned off again. Now shocked awake, and the alarm having not sounded for a few minutes, I went to the toilet. Mid-hangover poo, the alarm goes off again, longer this time. So I finish up in a panic, only for it to turn off again. The alarm then turned off and on every few minutes, about 4 times. I got dressed, headed down to reception to find out what the hell was going on. At the reception, I was greeted to the sight of our HR lady having a heated conversation with the receptionist. Jay is asleep on the lobby couch, and Jay's partner is sat next to him crying, with strangely wet pajama pants at the bottom. It turns out after we saw him into his room, he decided to run himself a bath, get in it while it was still running, and then fall asleep. His entire room flooded, and the water leaked through the floor and short-circuited the fire alarm. He woke up in the bath naked to the side of the hotel manager standing around, telling him he needed to get out of the bath and leave.
Jesus.
The worst part was, because the fire alarm had tripped, it cut off the gas supply to the hotel, which meant they couldn't cook the all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast, which my hangover was crying out for. He left the company shortly after, so I never found out if he got hit with repair costs, but our company refused to pay for his mistake. Good heavens, why do people do this at work dues especially?
Yeah, well, it's just alcohol, isn't it? Just makes you do crazy stuff, you know? Like you like fall asleep in a bath. You should never do that. You should not have a bath if you think there's even a remote chance of you falling asleep in it.
There's so many people at fault here, right? Though obviously, like first of all, whoever made him like this, okay?
Well, God.
How did he end up like this? What was it that led him down this
path? It's all
path?
part of God's plan.
Like the people at the work do over, not giving him enough supervision on like drinks and stuff, and no one like being his wingman or convincing him out of it. 3, girlfriend was in the room, didn't notice there's some sort of bath running and water coming out until the whole place is flooded. What's going on there? Was she obviously like, that's mad? Like there's so many like people here that could have helped him along. I'm saying this guy, maybe he wasn't so bad. Maybe he just had a few bad role models and bad friends.
You're blaming his friends for this guy being a useless bastard.
I'm blaming the listener. Listen,
jeez.
You did this.
You created this monster.
Think about that. Just think about that. Yeah. Fucking hell. Wow. That man sounds like chaos incarnate. We all know someone who is like that though, kind of, just a wild, unpredictable character when they've had a drink, doing like they have a crazy, they go off the rails. I think it's just, it might have just been excitedness to be allowed to set himself, be really himself. Maybe everyone was making him too comfortable. Maybe it was too casual of a setting. Maybe the boss should have been more formal, more serious with people, put down some better rules, maybe get him to sign a code of conduct. Do you know what I mean? Like you got to have.
Maybe he was a remote worker,
once.
and it's the first time he'd been around people for a very long time.
Exactly,
it might be crazy.
Exactly.
And then the boss was like, "We're going to cancel remote working."
Maybe there's like a culture of like a culture of laddish behavior in the company.
Well, I'm not sure why, but Lewis has chosen this story to become the devil's advocate for this drunken slob at a work party.
It seems to be blaming everybody but the drunken man.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. You're like one of those southern lawyers with the...
listen, guys.
My client, Your Honor, if it please the court, my client could not be trusted with alcohol. His employer should have known that. That's what you were doing.
Okay, look, it was my first work due, right? And I was young and naive, and I didn't know better, all right?
And you just really wanted to have a bath.
I was going through some shit. My dog had died, all right?
God! And was the body stolen by someone who thought they were nicking DJ equipment?
Yeah, there was like suitcases everywhere full of dead dogs.
All right, this is from James. This is calling me out. I'm absolutely outraged by your comments about cinemas. Sorry to hear you've had a negative experience with chain cinemas, but that sounds like a local problem. At the View Basingstoke, they've made every chair a recliner sofa, and you can bring your own food and drink in. And the price is still the same as a standard ticket.
Come to Basingstoke. It's basically heaven here. Look how good we are in Basingstoke. Fuck off.
I appreciate a lot of the shit you spout, but on this one I can safely say not all of the chain cinemas are bad. James, you're describing an everyman cinema. View are copying everyman because they're desperately trying to claw back some business that actually good cinema experiences are taken away from them. So you can dress up your View Basingstoke as much as you like. Downsides, number 1, it's in Basingstoke. That's it.
That's it.
That's all we need. Yeah. Also, 24 quid for a hot dog, some popcorn, and a sweet pack of sweets.
Yeah,
that's a review.
24 quid. It's insane. Yeah. And then
this is a review from a month ago. Visited the cinema for the 11 a.m. viewing of Gladiator 2. Screen was broken, glaring bright white light on the screen, ruining the open of the movie and wasting an hour of my time. The manager only allowed the refund of my ticket and not the egregiously priced snacks. which I had to leave behind because I didn't watch the movie. What? They expect me to wander around Basingstoke with a giant Coke and massive bag of popcorn? What an absolute joke. I would highly recommend you do not visit this cinema. It's badly maintained. The manager clearly has no idea about customer service.
There you go.
Just bring your own
There
snacks.
you go.
What?
Well,
what
yeah,
are you
that's
doing?
I love that as well. Like here's your the cinema is cancelled. Here's your money back. Just take that massive bucket of popcorn and Coke home with you.
Why are you
It's
buying
awesome.
all that at the movies? Like, just bring your own stuff. You can, you especially nowadays. You got a backpack, and they say, "Oh, what's your backpack for?" Just say, "Oh, I've got a disability or something," and
Just say urine.
no, you can.
Urine
You
samples.
can. You're allowed to take a bag anywhere.
Oh, I've got a disability or something, mate.
Yeah. Well, what are they going to do? Like, fucking, do you have any documentation or look you up or whatever? Like, I don't think they care that much. They just ask the question. You say anything, and then in you go with your snacks. It's not
You
hard.
could. You could just say blah 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 applesauce,
Yeah, exactly.
and they would let you. You're right.
Nobody's trying to enforce that. They're told that they have to say it, but I don't think they're gonna take it any further than that. What are they gonna do?
The hand comes down on your
get
shoulder.
on the floor. They got their boot on your neck, like searching your bag and stuff. What is this, mango? You got some dry mango? Oh, that's it. Shoot him, Lenny. Just fucking kill him.
Jesus.
Take your own snacks. Is what I'm saying. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, this isn't Nazi Germany. Do what you want at View Basingstoke.
They
Don't
can't
buy
stop
the
you.
overpriced snacks. Smuggle in a burger. Bring your own meal.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not cook yourself a jar of pasta sauce? Maybe cook some extra onions on the side. Pop them in there.
I saw a guy cook a chicken in a hotel bathroom with a couple of doodads and whatnots. You can take that into the cinema, no problem.
do that.
I took Subway into a cinema one time, a whole Subway with a cookie and a bag of chips, everything, no problem.
Sounds
I just
great.
put it in my bag. Yeah,
As long as you don't make too much noise, or come on, no rustling. There
Doesn't
are
matter.
rules.
Yeah,
Nobody-
don't be rustling.
doesn't matter. Nobody
No
goes to the
crinklers.
fucking cinema anymore anyway. You're in there alone half the time anyway, so you can make as much noise as you want. Who cares?
Oh, it really does rage people though when you because I was in the cinema. I'm sure I told you this. I was in the cinema and I was chatting away with I think Alex the Rambler or whatever while the adverts were on, and I got
Rambling
shushed
with the Rambler. Who shushed you?
during the adverts.
During the adverts?
The man stood up in front of me and he looked at me straight in the eye and shushed me, and I was like, dude, it's the adverts. Like, sorry, I didn't realize. Some people love the adverts though. To be fair to him,
What, do you mean the trailers or the ads?
the trailers. No, the adverts before the trailers.
Oh, well, then he can shut the fuck up.
I know.
It's so
Anyway,
loud in there anyway. It's not like you're missing anything.
It shook me up. It shook me up, actually.
Yeah. Oh,
It
sorry,
did.
mate. Sorry, no, that was an ad for Pepsi. If you missed that, didn't mean to talk over the ad for Pepsi. You cunt.
Well, it wasn't. That's what I wanted to do. But that's
I'll
not
go
what
with
I
you next
actually
time,
did.
and hopefully someone will start on us, and I'll give them a fucking mouthful about that.
Yeah, you can throw your applesauce in their face
Yeah.
and
Take this
they'll
apple
punch
from us
you.
and get out!
I don't know if I've ever told anybody ever to be quiet anywhere in my whole life.
Hmm.
Like,
I don't think I have either. I think I've wanted to.
Told my kids to pipe down.
well, I tell my kids to pipe
Pipe
down.
down, you two!
I tell my kids to pipe down all the time as well, but I don't think I've ever had to say to another adult, "Can you be quiet?" or whatever.
Well, but a lot of adults are less mature than your kids, so I mean, they
True.
should really.
Yeah, true.
You should really not be worried about doing it.
I just don't.
Yeah, some of them need to be
crazy.
told. Like me.
I feel like some people just lead such unnecessarily hectic lives, like through their decisions and stuff. Like why be so confrontational? You see these videos on.
They can't be that hectic. They're going to be sitting in a cinema for 3 hours. They're in time for the adverts.
No, but I
Do you
mean,
know what
I wonder if everywhere they go, there's some sort of altercation, or if these are isolated events. Like the fact that they're doing it leads me to believe that it's not isolated. I think there is a type of person that will just find issue with every single thing everywhere they go.
Oh, I mean,
They're not being
when I'm in
served
a
fast
certain
enough at a
mood,
restaurant.
I will.
They weren't picked to be served at the bar. Somebody's talking in the cinema. Somebody's on their phone in the cinema. Somebody's talking too loud on the train. You know what I mean? And it's just it's everything. but it's a type, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you can understand. Maybe you're at work, and your girlfriend's being really annoying, and so you start drinking, and then the guy to the left, he's eating lasagna weird like a printer, and then someone else is like doing some weird voice, and it's like driving you crazy. So you start drinking more, and you think, oh, maybe we'll just have some fun, we'll chat to some of the people you haven't spoken to. So you chat to some of the other people, and everyone thinks you're flirting with other people's girlfriends, and you're like, oh god, and someone spills their tomato sauce all over you.
All right.
So you go to bed, you think I'll have a quick bath, fall asleep.
Suddenly I don't know why you love this guy.
Suddenly your life's ruined.
Why are you in love with
dog
this
in a
guy?
suitcase?
Yeah.
Dead dog in a suitcase.
Maybe he was just maybe it was just that one final shush that pushed him over the edge and caused him to drink so much, Maybe he was.
I did shush someone in a cinema one time. I didn't shush because I hate shushing. If someone shushes me
during the adverts.
No, it was during the film. There were 3 lads behind us, me and Mrs. F. This was years ago, and they were nattering away. Like they weren't like teenagers. They were like, our age. They were like early 20s, and they were just talking and they at normal volume while the film was on. And I gave them the half turn, when they were talking especially loudly, thinking, that they'll notice and be like, oh, we should be quiet. Nothing. They keep talking. So I turned around and I said, you guys, please stop talking. We're trying to watch the movie. And the middle one, it turned out they were quite posh. He said, you arrogant shit. But then they did shut up. I was like, how the fuck am I the arrogant one? Your conversation's more important than
I think that's more of a knee-jerk reaction.
£2,000 that I've had to spend on this fucking thing.
I think the COVID did this thing to people where everyone starts thinking they're Gogglebox. Do you know what I mean? And they sit there with their mates and they comment funny bits on the video, and that's what it's like when you watch a movie at home with your friends. People will be making jokes and stuff throughout it, right? But when you actually go to a cinema, it's not that. And I think people have something they often forget that, especially if they're catching up with an old friend. It's always, I had a similar thing with some old ladies behind me who were like chatting away the whole movie, about absolute drivel. And someone told them to shush.
Yeah. Oh, we've been shushed, Nora. Oh dear. Hey, I can't believe who's shushing? What did he say? He said shush. Oh, God, we weren't talking loudly, were we? Oh, I don't think so.
The trembling voice.
You shush.
That is
I hope I never need to shush another person.
Yeah.
I hope I don't become the shusher or the shushy. I
doubt it.
I'm just going to watch a movie. Occasionally I can't remember. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times where I've thought, oh, that person is being like a bit loud or a bit weird at the movies or whatever. But it doesn't happen very often at all. I would say it's pretty rare. One time I went to a movie with my wife and 2 of my kids, and I can't remember what we were seeing, but there was a group of it must have been 8 teenage girls sitting in front of us. And I don't think they caught any of the movie. They were just on their phones talking and constantly leaving the theater. Just forever leave. 2 of them would leave, and then 4 would leave, and 2 would come back. And they were just constantly in and out of the theater. Not one of them was paying attention to the movie. But even then, we just sat there and watched the movie. It wasn't bad, But that is one time that kind of sticks out where I might have even been remotely close to saying to somebody, can you please stop standing up right in front of the movie all the time or whatever. But even then I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm a pushover.
Well, let's call it a day on that. That's
a good one. That's a good one to end on. I really enjoyed that. That was a great one.
Thank you so much for all the mails as usual.
Yeah,
very nice.
Keep them coming. So many I wanted to read out, but we only have so long.
True.
And,
thank you.
If you didn't get picked, you don't need to email and ask why it didn't get picked. Maybe you did get picked, but it just didn't. We ran out of time, and then I've had other emails in. I'm sorry. I know you guys are fantastic sending them in. We really appreciate it. I have a lot of fun reading them, and some of them are just really lovely messages.
Yeah.
And thank you for those too. So yeah, keep them coming. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.